Good evening, everyone. Dana here with Love Sola Flowers, ready for our pin-on corsage tutorial. So I'm going to wait for some people to come on, and then we will get started with our pin-on corsage. And we are running a sale right now. So if you pop over to our website, lovesolaflowers.com, June 60 is the coupon code to get 60% off of regular Sola flowers, and that excludes the fillers and the Fifth Avenue, but those are on sale as well. And we are going to just kick off our summer with some fun things to do in our next few tutorials. So I'm just gonna wait for you guys to head on over and say hi. I am going again to do a pin-on corsage. So, you know, some moms and grandmoms and stuff don't wanna, hey Tina, don't want to wear the wrist corsages, so we are going to do the pin-on because I know I get a lot of questions about them. Hey Sherry, hey Maria. All right, I see you guys coming on. Thanks. You know what? It's super humid here, and straightening it was not going to happen today, so thank you. Thanks. Hey Jill. Hi Cindy. Hi everyone. Hey Ashley. So yeah, we're gonna do a pin-on corsage, and what I'm gonna do, see, what I like to do with my tutorials is just to do like the easiest possible way to do something, because there are millions of ways sometimes to make stuff, but some are like super easy and some are a little more complicated, and I like to bring you guys the very easiest, because, you know, some of you are just brides doing this for yourself. Some of you are business people. Some of you just doing it for hobbies. And so what I like to do is just find the very, very easiest way to do it. That way there's no struggles happening, and we can do it from start to finish without getting frustrated. So this is how I do my super, super duper easy pin-on corsage. And if you make wrist corsages, then you're gonna be able to do this. Okay, so again, there are millions of ways to do this. There is no right way to do this, but this is just a way that I have figured that is super duper easy, and it's not really expensive. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna wait for a few more minutes for everyone to come on. Again, we are, hey Tracy, and then we are going to also have our sale. Like I said, lovesolaflowers.com. That started today. It's June 60 for 60% off of regular Sola flowers. So check out our site. And if you haven't joined our community group, it is facebook.com/groups/lovesolaflowers. So that's our community group where you can share what you make. You can ask questions, you can get advice. It's easier for us to help you in that group as opposed to private messages, because, you know, there's a whole bunch of people's advice in there. And so please join that group and ask all the questions you need. Thanks, Tracy. I was just saying how it's very hot and sweaty outside, so straightening it wasn't going to happen today. But thank you. So yeah, there we go. There's a link to our community group. So we're going to get started. It is Tracy. It's so exciting to see everybody grow too. The group has been around for about 4 years, and it grows, you know, every day. And it's so fun to see even some people who were beginners just like a year ago, or they start with their own wedding and then they're in business. So it's really fun. It's a good place to join, to share, and to grow. And even if you're just going to do this one time as a bride, you can get a lot of tips on how to do things easy. So that's it. Okay, so let's do this pin-on corsage. Again, super easy, but I am going to tell you some ways to do it differently while I'm creating my own. So here's how I start. So if you're going to make a wrist corsage, you'll need one of these bases, okay? So I get mine on Amazon, and there's like a million in the packet. They're very, very cheap, each one, and it's just an elastic one. And we're actually gonna use this as the base for a pin-on. Again, I wanna show you the very, very easiest, and these are super, super cheap when you buy them in bulk on Amazon. I can get that link and I'll put it in the community group, the one that I use for these. And it doesn't even matter what the elastic is, because we're going to actually remove that for the pin-on corsage. So you use these bases, then you're going to use these for this as well. If you don't want to buy one of these, which again, they come out to be super duper cheap in the end, so it's not like a big deal if you buy the package. But if you are wanting to save a little bit of money, you can use a piece of cardboard covered by either felt or ribbon or satin or any of that kind of stuff. So if you want to use a cardboard square, you can. I like these because the metal gives a lot of support and you're not worrying about, you know, if it gets a little moisture or something like that, it's going to bend and it's going to be weird. So I do like to use these. Again, this is meant for a wrist corsage, but we're going to turn it into a pin-on corsage, okay? All right. I see a lot more of you joining. Our sale on lovesolaflowers.com is 60% off right now, and the code is June 60. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this elastic just like that, okay? Now I have a metal piece to work with, and this is what I'm going to use to make my pin-on corsage. Now again, you can use something like a piece of cardboard covered with some fabric if you want to, or any other kind of like hard square that you can come up with. But I again prefer these just because, well, that's what they were made for in the first place. So works for me. And again, if you buy them in the box of like multiple, they end up being super duper cheap. Just buy the cheapest elastic one. You can get these at Hobby Lobby as well. They're cheap. They're like $1.99 when they're on sale, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so I've got some faux greenery here. I do like to use faux greenery for the base, the bottom of it, just because we're going to be piling on a lot of glue. And when you pile a lot of glue on preserved, it doesn't tend to do very well, but we are going to use Love Sola's dried and preserved as the little decoration inside of it. So again, I've got my little piece here, and just be careful because metal does conduct heat. So sometimes if you're sensitive to, it could get like hot where I'm holding it, even though I put glue somewhere else. So just be careful when you're doing that. If you want to even leave the elastic on while you're building it, you could always hold on to that. I feel like my fingers don't really feel heat anymore since I've burned them so many times. So I'm just going to lay a little base of greenery. So I have 3 leaves here, and I'm just going to make them kind of how they were on their stem, where I do like a little, I'll show you here. Okay. And I always do it off to the side. So if you ever watch me, I do tend to build things off to the side a little bit, always on an angle, a little asymmetrically, things like that, just because when things are straight in lines and stuff, it just doesn't look natural, because nature usually does off to the side. So let me just show you where I started. So these are just some faux leaves. If you use something like a silver dollar eucalyptus, you can just do 2 because it'll fill up your space, but you're going off to one corner. Okay. Hi, Tatiana. So I've got my green leaves there, and this is basically going to be the start of everything else that I glue on, except for the other side, I'm going to just put 1 leaf, okay? So I like to have one side be my bulky side, and then one side just have like the 1 leaf. And I'm going to show you the angles, and I'll hold it up so you guys can see. So they're on the opposite corners of each other. And again, you can use any style leaf that you like, but you want it to come out a little bit. And if you do it where it's on this diagonal, you'll have a good shape with your greenery when you build this, okay? All right. So I always start with my largest flower first. My largest flower for corsage is a 2-inch. I'm going to use a 2-inch New Beauty. I have 1.5-inch, I believe they're called Electras. And then I've got little mini, let's see, I think these are the Romas. Okay, and so I'm going to do this 2-inch flower first, and I'm going to put it on my bulky leaf green section here. And I'm just going to lean it to the side, okay? Now you do want to use a lot of glue, okay, because you want this to really catch on. Watch your fingers, and you don't want to push other flowers on until it really has dried. So do you see how I have that on an angle? So the side of my flower is directly leaning against my greens. Okay, got it? All right, I'm gonna just let it dry 1 more second before I push these against it. Then I'm gonna do my little purple guys I have here. These are 1.5 inches. And I'm just gonna put the glue on the bottom of the flower, and I'm going to press it up against the flower that I have there. Now, you are gonna have a little gap. First, you wanna get it as close as possible, but a gap is okay because we have other fillers that we're gonna be adding into those little gaps. So don't worry too much about any gaps. Yes, all the glue that you can think of. I use so much glue. Tina came and visited me, and she was shocked by the amount of glue that I use, but I told her, like, my pieces can totally never fall apart. You'll never worry about my stuff. Tracy, it's okay for a gap on this because we are going to fill it with fillers. So a gap is actually not bad right now for this. So I'm going to put my other purple one, and I'm going to just go on the other side. Let me just make sure I have enough space. Let me see if I can put my little roses here. I'm just setting it up just to make sure I have enough space. I'm not sure I gave myself enough room here. So I might just use one of the flowers. Okay. Would you use the same method for? Yes, Kayla, this is how I build. It's exactly the same. That's what people always question me about the pin-on corsages, and I'm always like, well, it's exactly the same. Yeah, Tracy. Tracy, for a lot of things you don't need gaps, but for this one it's okay because we've got a lot of filler. When you have filler involved, then gaps aren't so bad. Okay, so I'm going to put my guy in here. Now you can use 3 flowers. I know a lot of times I use the 3 flower corsage method because it's very easy to just use 3 2-inch flowers. But because this is a pin-on, you kind of want it to be a little bit of a different shape than just a circle. Because on a wrist, a circle doesn't really matter. But on a pin-on, I like it to have a little bit of a shape. So like, yeah, this would be the same as like a wrist corsage, okay? So that would be what it would be if I left the elastic on it. Okay? And then I'm gonna use my little Roma rose here, and I'm gonna put that in. And then we're just gonna have fun with some fillers to fancy it up. Just watch your fingers underneath. I do burn myself like every time I make corsages. It's just, just how it rolls here. Okay. All right, so let me just show it to you. So again, my big one went on the side of those leaves. This one I filled in 2 flowers on this side. Let me get rid of the webs here. And 1 flower on this side. And I have a leaf coming out. Now it looks pretty silly right now, but remember, I'm gonna be adding fillers and make the shape differently than what it is. So let me see if I can hold it up better, like that. Okay. Now I'm gonna add, again, some more of this faux just to the bottom because it's gonna get hidden anyway, so I don't need to waste my fancy preserves. And I'm gonna use more of my, what I consider, like, I call it wispy greens. So I have leafy greens and I have wispy greens, and the wispy ones are more of these kind of fillery type kind as opposed to a big leaf, okay? So my base always has to be a leafy green, but my fillers should be more wispy, not so bulky. So you see I have those there. I see more of you joining, so if you didn't hear, we are having our 60% off sale. The code is June60, and you can shop on lovesolaflowers.com. And if you use the drop-down box, you can find flowers easily. We have raw flowers, which are these, they come in this ivory color, and you can dye them. And we have lots of videos on how to dye. And then we also have something called skinned flowers, and that's where it leaves some of the bark in the design, which has that dark brown kind of cool textured part to them. And then we have now 2 kinds of fillers. We have the dried and preserved, and we have faux filler. And then we also have supplies, which is our stems and our stems covers. So we've got a lot going on our website, so be sure to use that drop-down box to check out all the cool things that are going on there. All right, so I've got those there. And now I've got some green caspia, which I'm gonna add. And you just need the tops of the green caspia for this. And I'm just gonna go actually in the gaps. So you're right, there is gonna be no gaps, But before, when we started, it was okay if there were some gaps then because we knew we were going to come in and do this. So in between the flowers, there will be a gap, and that's where to start adding your fillers. Yes, I do love assortments too. So I actually buy a lot of assortments too. I do a lot of weddings, so there are like certain flowers that I always need, but I always add in an assortment with it because then there's like some flowers that I've never even tried myself because I'm always using the same things because they're my go-tos. And then I'm like, well, then I never get to play with anything new. And then I always find out that I love things that I never would have even tried. So that is fun to do, the assortments. I've tried them all now and they're fun. Okay, so we always start with our greeneries before we move to colors and other things because you don't want colors to like be hidden, all those special greens. Got like webs everywhere. So if you guys make this, just get ready for webs. Okay, so let me hold it up. So we started with our leafy base. We added some of our wispy fillers. So I did do some fake there, but then I did the Caspia that we've got. And Caspia comes in lots of different colors, so that's so fun. You can do as well. Okay, now I'm gonna go to my baby's breath, okay? So I've got dried baby's breath here. And what I do is I take a stack and I just want the heads where the blooms are. So I'm just gonna break it at that. And I'm gonna keep filling in between the flowers where the little gaps are at. Okay, I think I'm gonna do 2 little bundles. Or maybe I'll put this in the middle. You can also put the fillers, if you can see, if you can put them right in the center of all the flowers. You don't have to just put them on the outside. It's nice to get something there on the inside. Okay. And now I've got my lavender. You all know how much I love Sola's lavender because I have tried the dried lavender in other places and it just falls apart. But this preserved lavender is the best. Okay, so I'm gonna add this again. We're just adding to the gaps again. And I always do 2 pieces of lavender together, like a V. Okay. I know, Maria. We've always been Caspia lovers here. It's just got so many good uses. You can use it in the corsages like this, boutonnieres. You can use them in, you know, wreaths. You can use it in bouquets. It's just got so many fun uses here. So I think I want it over here. And again, I always do 2. I like to make a V with it instead of just like one little like tail. Because if you use one piece, it looks kind of like a tail. Okay, let me hold it up. Okay, so we're done with the actual base of the corsage. You can get it ready. I know if you've seen these videos, you've heard me say it a lot, but if this is one of your first videos, you never heard of it. These webs that are like all over me right now, you can just use a hair dryer on the hot setting and you blow dry it and it melts all those little webby things away. So I've got my corsage here. Now, you can attach it 2 ways to be a pin-on corsage. The first way you can do it is using, for a genuinely pin-on corsage, is using one of those thick safety pins that have a flat back. It's called a flat back safety pin. And you can literally hot glue that metal piece and lay it right down. Okay, and you can use the hot Gorilla Glue if you feel like you want to make sure that they stick really well. But you can use that flat backed pin on and then it'll really be frustrated with good ways. Oh my gosh, Caspia fills every gap like amazingly. I use it for everything. Cascade bouquets are the best with Caspia because you just pop them in at the end. It's such a good filler for those kind of things. Now, what I'm going to use as my backing is magnets. So I'm gonna load on the glue, like load it on. I've got 2 magnets here. I'm gonna separate it and put the bottom one in the glue. Now, why I like the magnet and not the safety pin is because this is metal, the magnet actually sticks to it magnetically, and the glue is just like an extra. So these will never come apart because not only is it magneted, not so sure how to say that. So not only is the magnet stuck on the metal because it's a magnet, but also because of the hot glue. So it ain't going nowhere. How do you say that? Magneted? I don't know. Anyway, I like to use the magnets, and they're super strong. I got these ones at Hobby Lobby. They literally can go between my hand and stick to each other. That's how strong they are. They're not going to fall off if people hug or anything else like that. But you can do the safety pin if you want to do a pin. I always feel like the magnet is the best way. No one's going to get pinched. No one's going to get hurt. And you can easily adjust the direction. Magnetize, that's it. So there we go. That is it. Look how easy that was. Again, if it's on a lapel, if it's on, and you can just easily move it. With a pin, you know, you gotta sometimes adjust it, but with this magnet, it makes it so you can put it anywhere. Okay, so see how easy it is to move when you have a magnet? And you can even flip it. If you have a pin, sometimes your pin has to go in a certain direction. But see, look, I can flip it however I want. Okay? And see how easy that was? I mean, yeah, so you're cutting off the elastic, but these things can be so cheap, these bottoms, that for me to use cardboard is silly. So again, I like to just do the easiest possible way. So I like to use these metal wrist ones, and I like to use the magnet because not only does the magnet stick, like I said, like this ain't going nowhere. Look, I can do this, and it's not literally gonna go anywhere. It's never going anywhere. I mean, you can hug it, look. I mean, it is so magnetized that this thing is never going to go anywhere. With a pin, sometimes it's like floppy. And you could even use 2 magnets if you want it to be more stable. But I mean, this thing, I promise you, it's not going anywhere. Oh, yeah. That's how you make a wrist corsage. We do have videos on how to make wrist corsages on here. It's the same exact way. So if you had the elastic, you could totally, yeah, it would be a wrist corsage the same way. I wonder if it could magnetize through my wrist. No, it's not going to. I'm not going to try. I'm going to like break my wrist somehow. I don't know. It's not good for me. So again, this is nice because you just put the magnet on the inside and it magnets to that. You can also use it then later. You can make these if you have bridesmaids that have belts. Let me try to just do it on my fake little belt here. Maybe it's not going to work because I have a thick belt. But you can do this on... Yes, all these videos get saved to our video tab here on our Facebook page, but you can put, I know, Tracy, I'm such a weirdo sometimes, but like you can make cute little belts. I like to do all types of accessories. I bet you it even could stick in my hair with a magnet. See, look, I could even magnet it to my hair, for real. These things are crazy. These magnets are crazy. You can magnet it anywhere. Like I could probably make a whole hairdo like that. Okay, anyway, so this was the easiest way I could think of teaching how to do a pin-on corsage, by using the wrist things, by using the magnet, and then you're all set, okay? You could even put this on, you know, purses and things like that. Like if you want, if your girls have little bags maybe you gave them, I don't know, there's so many things you can do. And then they can use them as a magnet on there. You can actually use it as a magnet, a real magnet. So there we go. You could use it on your refrigerator. All right, so that is how we are doing a pin-on corsage. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to be putting this into a blog as well with all the different styles of corsages that we have on videos that will list all the video links. That way you don't have to search everywhere for them. And that is it. So go save 60% off on lovesolaflowers.com. And it is June 60 for the coupon code. All right, everyone, have a wonderful night.